Greetings, space travelers. Welcome home. You just tuned your dial to Spaced Out Radio, the only place where you can own the night. I am your host, Mr. Rob G, and tonight we're broadcasting to you on our terrestrial affiliates and across North America digitally on TalkStream Live, KPNL, and Odyssey Radio. Remember, you can access our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Spaced Out Radio, at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where the options are endless. Stay up to date with the S.O.R Newswire. Get some official Spaced Out swag, as we'll check out later. Plus, rock out to some Bumblefoot and so much more. We have an awesome show for you tonight. We have author, certified hypnotherapist, multi-dimensional ET experiencer, experiencing in regressions, Misha Johnston. So this is going to be an awesome show. I can't wait to talk to her. I'm going to learn a lot today, I'm sure. And yeah, I'm just glad to be back. Glad to see you guys as well. Glad to be here with you again after I had a wonderful holiday weekend. So I really appreciate everyone tuning in to the shows that we grabbed from the vault. So we dipped into the S.O.R archives and we pulled out two of the very best shows, some of the most well-received shows. And I really think you guys resonated with that. I did hop in on the chat occasionally to kind of mingle with you guys. Some reason I'm supposed to be on vacation and away with the family, but I just can't stay away. It's pretty wild, right? So I'm working when I'm not working. So yeah, but we have a lot of awesome stuff going on for you. We have later on in the show, we're going to be introduced to someone who is going to be our new UFO reporter. Well, I guess our first UFO reporter here for After Hours is going to be here every Saturday. And I can't wait to introduce you guys to this gentleman. It's going to be totally awesome. And tomorrow we will be introducing you to our new paranormal reporter. Somebody I think you guys resonate with, and it's going to be awesome, right? So there'll be hour 3, Saturday and Sundays for the first top of the hour. And then we'll bring it home together for the last half hour of the third hour. We'll close it out together. So let me go ahead and jump in here and see who's showing up and is okay. Yeah, I knew it. Race Fan gets the gold. Okay, yep. Tamalt Man gets the silver. Little Cam 5-1 takes home the bronze. I'm going to bring you guys up here. And we have Lee the Bee. Hey, S.O.R friends, and Dave, good to see you too. Is Rob G tonight, but Dave appreciates the love. That's for sure. We got Nicola Perry Jr. Good evening, all. Hey, Rob. Hey, Nicola. Thanks for coming in. We appreciate you. We have Laura Lobbs. Laura Lobbs, thanks for coming in. We got Tamothman. Tamothman, thanks for coming in. Appreciate you. Justin Hemminson. Hi, Robert. First purse. Oh, never mind. Right. Race fan does it every single time. He makes you feel that way. I was going to hop in earlier and take the bronze, but I was like, maybe I don't think I can actually do that. So let me go ahead and just host the show. Just sit back and host the show. We got Dewey Cheatham and Howe. Hi, everyone. Hey, Dewey Cheatham and Howe. Hey, JSCO77. Good evening, folks. Good evening to you, sir. Has the most wonderful voice if you guys have ever had a chance to hear this gentleman speak. We have Susan Alloway. Hello, everyone. Hello, Susan. Let's see who else we have in here. We have Philip Baca. Philip, thank you for joining us tonight. We have Liana King. Hi, everybody. Hi, Liana. Thanks for coming in tonight. We have, who else do we have here? Grandmaster UV, one of our previous S.O.R trivia winners. Appreciate you. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for coming in, Grandmaster UV. We got Facebook user. Thank you for coming in, Facebook user. Appreciate you. See, who else do we have here? John P. Adventures. Purple turquoise hand. Okay, yeah, that's just some StreamYard mumbo jumbo. I believe it's a bunch of emojis. Hey, John, thanks for coming in. Let's see. Angels Are Life. Thank you for coming in, Nikki. I think you're going to enjoy the show in particular as well. Thank you for coming in tonight, Nikki. We have Marilena. Marilena, thank you for coming in. Good morning, everyone. We have Doug Shelby. What's up, everybody? Whew, made it home just in time for the show. Excellent. Glad to have you here. Thanks for coming in. Let's see. Oh, Magneticus Attractus. I was waiting for last place. LOL. Magneticus, my guy. Thanks for coming in. Nancy Thames. Evening, Rob. Evening to you, Nancy Thames. Just so glad to be back. Just, I just was counting the days down. Couldn't wait to get back in the saddle and get this thing going. A lot of exciting things happening behind the scenes here at Space Out Radio. You're going to see. I might be able to show you something tonight, something that we're working on. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Who else do we have? We have Anita. I do not want to get your last name incorrect, Anita, but hello. Thank you for coming in. And let's see. Area 51, my guy. How's it going, Rob? How you been, Area 51? I hope you had a great holiday. Night Rider. Thank you for coming in, Night Rider. And let's see. We are almost done here. I think we are. Yep. Looks like we're all caught up. Okay. So yeah, appreciate you guys coming in. It's going to be a real awesome show. I can't wait to get into it. We're going to be talking about experiencer regression, galactic channeling, just a bunch of stuff that I am just getting into and would love to learn more about. Because this phenomena is a crazy thing. We totally don't understand what it is. We don't get it. We're putting the pieces to the puzzle together very slowly, but we're doing it, and it's becoming to be a picture that is mind-blowing. And so, I'm excited to kind of learn as we go, and I think we're going to have a great time tonight. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and do what we normally do on a Saturday, and we're going to go ahead and hop into the time machine, go back and check the week that was Spaced Out Radio with the S.O.R weekly review. We're going to go ahead and get this going for you guys. So sit back and relax. Here we go.
The other thing about this encounter, and I want to go into a little bit of detail of this, because this is the one part that really kind of caught my attention from someone who spends a lot of time in the forest. And that is the fact that they got out of the vehicle and they had the uneasy feeling that it was not safe to be around, that it was not a good time to be out of the car. I have had that.
I was going to say, you've had that. Yeah, absolutely.
It is not a comfortable feeling whatsoever. And I'm curious, like that's the one, like we were just talking moments ago of those little tidbits that would make you feel like somebody's telling the truth. That would be one for me. Completely one for me.
Yeah, I mean, people say that. I do get that occasionally from people where they say that, they get this kind of instinctive warning that something's up. Keep my eyes open, to keep my powder dry, to look around because something doesn't seem right.
I remember when it was last year, we were heading up to our Sasquatch site, and this is a few weeks before we actually saw the big guy there. And one of the things that I had noticed, the minute we turned off to go up that logging road, it just did not feel right. There was that voice in the back of your head that's like, turn around. Not a good day. Not a good day to be there. And we just continued driving. And everywhere I looked, Lon, I was seeing, and I knew it was pareidolia. Okay, knew 100% that it was pareidolia. But every tree and bush I looked at, I was seeing the heads and face shapes of alien grays. And the other
go ahead.
The other two who were with me were getting a very paranormal type effect, like heavy on the shoulders, pressure in the head. Okay, very uncomfortable. And we got up there. I wouldn't even let my son out of the vehicle. It felt so tense and so dangerous up there. And this is a place that we go to all the time. And, believe me when I say this, and I know you will, Lon, because you've been there, done that. When you're in an area where you know the energy of the things that are around you, whether it's birds, whether it's deer, whether it's bears or mountain lions or whatever, you could pick up the energy of those creatures. It's very easy when you're in the forest.
I think indigenous animals do have that ability, an infrasound or something that they can project to warn people. But I think cryptids, Bigfoot, canines, I think that's the same thing. I think they have some abilities to either warn someone that, even at a distance, just do not show up. I mean, back away. We know you're coming, and just, don't even think about it.
All right, Michael. Well, let's start getting into a little bit of crash retrieval here, because this is the reason why you are here tonight.
Okay.
How long has this been going on that we know?
Well, if you go back to Cape Girardeau, 1941, that would kind of be the unofficial beginning. But, we are getting reports prior to. We're getting reports from 1933 timeframe. We're getting reports for a little bit after 1942 timeframe. So I would say between 33 and 42, 46, that would be kind of the beginning framework of where we want to begin our discussion here. And if I can, I'd like to share my screen. Is it okay to do that?
Absolutely. Let's just make sure we describe it for our radio audience.
No problem. We'll go ahead and do that here. Let's see. Entire screen. Got that. Share. Okay. I'm going to close this down. I'm going to open this up. And I'm going to slideshow from beginning. Okay. So, Dave, do you see this full screen?
I got it on screen right now.
Roger that. Okay. So we are going to begin this presentation here. I am not going to rush through these cases, and I'm going to give you the references. these source materials so that you can verify this and investigate these cases on your own. So I'm not going to leave people stranded here. The title of this lecture is called Retrievals of the Third Kind, Cosmic Crashes, Corpses, and Cover-Ups here. And we talked about this a little bit in the beginning here, David. UFO crash retrievals, the ultimate holy grail of UFO research. And why is it the holy grail? It's simple. It's because the UFO crash retrievals contain the debris, the bodies, and the craft. And this is the physical evidence that we've been waiting for 80 years. And it's this physical evidence, if it's brought to the attention of the scientific community as a united coalition, they can, as a third-party independent source of information, they can move forward and bring this out to the public. That's how we're going to have a vehicle toward disclosure here.
Now, over the years, you have brought out a number of whistleblowers, mainly in the secret space program, Super Soldiers, but a whistleblower nonetheless is a whistleblower. And we've seen David Grush get absolutely chewed up and spit out by those who are trying to protect the military industrial complex. Have you ever heard of a veteran in this field ever be blown up by a politician the way David Grush was by Mike Turner?
Well, actually, yeah, they've never been really kind to them. If they're opposed to what they're talking about, they're not very kind. But I was very upset about what he did, because he basically was telling him that he didn't know what he was talking about. And that really upset me, because it's like, the guy is risking his career to sit there in front of these guys and tell them stuff that is very hard to believe, number one. And number two, he has no reason to come forward. I mean, come on. It's like, that really upset me, very much so. And I think that most of the whistleblowers are, especially the ones that are major contactees in the military, the 4 or 5 I've talked to that have extraordinary stories that I can't even tell you guys about, because they've asked me never to speak of it, ever, ever, ever. It are some of the most credible people I've ever met in my life, but they're afraid for their lives. I mean, that's how deep some of this goes. They're so afraid of for their lives. And it's not because of the ET situation that they were involved in. It's because of the military situation. And here's the tough part. And most of you are just going to say, Maureen, you're out of your mind. You know, everybody talks about this 20 and back program. Well, it's not really 20 and back. I hate to tell you guys, what it really is a mind control. Okay, now I'm getting back to my old roots, mind control. It's a mind control time slip that the ETs are able to control. If the person in the military goes in and gets picked for one of these programs without their knowledge, they are used by an ET and military program, a secret space program, and there are a lot of weird things that happen to them. I'm going to give you guys one example, and this is actually from Melinda, and I hope she doesn't get mad at me for talking about it, because I don't know this person, and that is the reason I'm talking about it, because I don't know him. She had a guy she was dealing with that went into the military, believes he was part of a secret space program, but he didn't know it until he woke up in his, literally woke up mentally in his parents' kitchen doing the dishes, and he didn't know where he was, because the last thing he remembered was being on a military base and going to bed in a barracks somewhere.
If everything goes as planned for us in 2024, and everything goes good, I see us, myself, Merle, and Samantha Mowat, hopping on a motorhome and going into all of these small little areas, because that, to me, like, I love seeing the world. I love the world stories. I've never traveled outside of North America. Okay, I'm a homebody, put it that way. You know, not just the way my life has gone. Okay, but one thing that interests me is all of these small towns that have their stories.
Mhm.
And the smaller the towns, the better, because new people move into those small towns to get away from the big cities, and they don't learn the legends and the lore of the town. You know, like there's towns in British Columbia where they're literally ghost towns where it's a
Yeah.
legend that demons have chased out the forestry workers or the miners of that area. And
If
literally the buildings are just sitting there doing nothing.
if I
You know,
lived in a town like that, I would so fuel the demon thing just so I had the whole town to myself.
oh yeah,
Oh no, that you don't want to live there. That's yeah, that place is evil. There's
yeah.
a town like that. Actually it's the closest quote unquote town to where my family, my parents, and my brother and sister still live there. And it's actually inside a national park now, or a state park, excuse me. And it is totally like people do live there and have homes that they've had for homesteads for a few generations, so a century or so. But it's totally like a ghost town, but it's kind of within a park, so it's preserved. And like once a year they do official days, and you can go and walk into the saloon and get a sarsaparilla and like kind of go to the general store and order things. And but also you can learn about the different cultures of miners that were there. It's an old mining town, and those are the towns full of ghosts because they came in, they completely just raked the land. There was so much desperation, there was so much clawing for success, and so much like anguish and pain. And then they were gone, leaving the scarred earth behind, and a few entrepreneurs who thought of something different to do. There's there, and all kinds of there's horrifying mining deaths, right? Like just absolutely brutal stories of oh gosh, just really really if you're claustrophobic, those are not the stories for you. Cave-ons and cave-ins, and just like really really kind of brutal, constant, not to mention claim jumping and just knocking. I mean, you could just murder someone. You want their stuff, you just kill them. It was like absolute mayhem.
Are all alien species within our universe, are they all space travelers?
No, not even close. It's a tiny percentage that are actually space travelers.
Like, I'm not talking little amoeba size. Okay, I'm not talking, like bugs, like worms that could be on Mars or in the ground of Venus or anything like that. I'm saying alien species that like humans or grays or reptilians.
Yeah, no, I understood that's what you were referring to. I'm talking about ones that are anywhere. Now, the smallest of the ones I'm referring to are in the neighborhood of 6 to 8 inches. And we can't do much about that. But you're
No.
referring to technically advanced life forms.
Yes.
The massive majority are at least 1,000 years older. This is why I say they've got better toys. But spiritually speaking, they really aren't that different from man.
Got a couple questions here for you, Keith. This one comes from Cindy. Have you seen the resurrection tubes that some abductees have seen? And what are the resurrection tubes? I've never heard of these.
Yes, I have. Okay, they actually work quite well, and you've actually seen them, Dave, though you don't know it. Do you remember the show, the series, Stargate?
Not really. Like, I remember the show.
Okay.
I just don't remember much to it.
They had in them these pods that you put a dead body in, and it would bring them back to life. These were developed by the Ennead. Okay, the Ennead are the people that showed up here that Egyptians looked to as gods.
Okay.
But yeah, they do work, because you got to remember, dead according to what a human is necessarily dead.
Okay, so how do the aliens know how to bring us back to life if they accidentally kill us? I mean, if we look at the Travis Walton story, he now believes that when he was hit with that beam of light, that he was actually killed. They brought him back on craft in order to revive him.
Oh yeah, and that's very much the way it went down. His interaction was very much a miscalculation. The intention was certainly not to do him in. They just, at the time, the crew that ended up doing that were, to say the least, a little ill-trained.
There's a lot of people talking on, especially once again Twitter, which seems to be the big bragging and newsworthy station on this, including Ross Coulthart talking about it on News Nation. The Debrief came out with a new article on it. I mean, do we expect this to get uglier over the next few days, or is there going to be some sort of clarification before the actual bill is brought out?
Well, there was a big rumor, and it wasn't fully a rumor. I heard from three different sources yesterday, that something was going to drop in 24 hours. A big story that was going to have evidence, possibly, right? That was going to show more evidence, that there was going to be somebody who was essentially going to come out with that evidence, and that it would be along the lines of a whistleblower, but it didn't happen today. So I've been watching, and I asked questions about that, and I was basically told from people in those circles, we can't say any more about it until it comes out. So I think that's when we're talking about a Hail Mary, that might be another Hail Mary. Other people are calling it a fail safe. I like that, like a fail safe. If the bill doesn't go through, that there's a dead man switch or something, where the people in this community that have tried hard to get the law passed, if they don't, they have a backup plan. I think Lou Elizondo also alluded to some of that. He didn't say those exact words, but he was basically look where we're at right now. Do you really think that we wouldn't have some other strategies in place? So those kind of things let me believe that there's something else beyond the bill that might be helpful, that might push disclosure forward, regardless of whether the NDAA gets passed. So I do think that there is something else, but I don't think it will be as powerful, as groundbreaking as actual legislation where they would have to disclose.
Okay. In Courtney Marcassani's world, from what you have learned, is there what is plan B?
Yeah, well, they don't have a plan B. That's what's been said multiple times. We don't have a plan B. There's no plan B. We put all our eggs in this basket. But I think the plan B would be, I think I mentioned this in one of our other news hours, that I think a plan B would be for somebody like Lou Elizondo to come back out, not necessarily him, because I know that he was under fire and he has his own lawsuit going on with the Pentagon. So he probably wouldn't be able to be the one to come out and give more disclosure. But it would be somebody like that, possibly. That, in my world, in my head, like, you don't want to be in my head at night. You don't want to be in those dark alleys. But and those are dark alleys. That's kind of what I, hope. That's what I hope for, is somebody like that, somebody clutch, who just comes out and puts the 3-pointer up, and all of us go, yay! It restores our hope. That's an optimistic vantage point.
All right. So that was the S.O.R week in review. A lot of great stuff happened. If you have not seen some of those shows, definitely jump into our archives. They are free right here at youtube.com/spaced out radio. And we're going to go ahead now and get into our guest for the night. So let me go ahead and get this prepped up here, because we have, I'll just preface it by this. I reached out to you, the viewers, and I asked, who are some of the people that you would like to see on Spaced Out Radio? And we had responses come in for our guest here tonight. So we went ahead and reached out, and she was so gracious as to give us her time tonight. So I want to go ahead and get ready to bring her in here, but let me go ahead and just give you a piece of her bio here. So Misha Johnston is a speaker, author, and a certified hypnotherapist specializing in multi-dimensional ET Experiencer Regressions, past life regression, and trauma recovery hypnosis. She offers a Galactic Multi-Dimensional Sessions and is a trance channel who speaks many Galactic Light Languages. For the past 8 years, she facilitates virtual experiencer support groups 3 times a week on virtual Zoom and has a monthly group in her home. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and bring in our guest for the night, Miss Misha Johnston. How are you, Misha?
Hi, I'm just fine. Thank you, Rob, for having me here.
I want to give you a warm welcome here. Totally appreciate you coming in tonight. Like I said, we reached out. Our viewers said, bring Misha Johnston in. And we went ahead and reached out. And like I said, you were so gracious as to come in and give us your time tonight. So there are a lot of things that you're involved in that I would love to hear about. And I know our viewers would love to hear about. Because when I look at this whole phenomenon and what we're dealing with here, I think it's an awakening process for a lot of people, for all of us, and a learning experience at the same time. So I'm going to be thrilled to learn what you are involved in and kind of open my eyes to this as well. I would like to start out, just as I do pretty much any interview as a first time, if you wouldn't mind starting from the beginning. Maybe covering anything that what awoken you and brought you into doing what it is you're doing today.
Okay, well, thank you. So it started from 3 years old. I've been an experiencer from 3 years old. My first contact was these little guys I called BGs. They were little bears that I saw underneath the staircase. They look like little bears. There was 3 of them. They were in cloaks, and so they were my first contact. And I had a lot of contact with them. They take me up on the ship, and so that went on until I got into school. And when I got into school, there was another group of ETs. I will also say to you that, believe it or not, when I saw Star Wars and I saw the Ewoks, that's very much what they look like. And I have in my group have met 3 other people who've had experiences with what I called the BGs and Hollywood calls the Ewoks, but they were very benevolent, kind beings, and they taught me what I felt like was how to fly, but it was levitation basically. And so then I went into school and I met another group, and they were a tall white being with no hair, and then also 3 little gray guys. They seemed to work together in except that the tall white one seemed to be the one in charge, did more of the communication telepathically, whereas the little grays didn't do a lot of telepathic. They seemed more like what I called them, the little doctors as a child. So it was funny because I would see these little 3 grays at the window. To me, they look like deers, which is screen memories that they will put with in people always. Screen memories is a very common thing with a lot of the different ETs that are visiting us, or galactics even. And they look like little baby deers to me. And I thought, oh, the baby deers are here. It's time to go. So it was really a simple thing. So then when I got into school, I started talking about it. And not back in those days. You don't talk about that would have been in the early 60s. So no, excuse me, not even the early 60s, the early 50s. Yeah, trying to make myself younger. The early 50s. But and you don't talk about that kind of thing, and I kept trying to share this with people and tell them that they're real, and I started getting beat up. And so I finally realized it was a smart thing to keep my mouth shut. So I lived my life most of the time with my mouth shut until in 1967, I was abducted. Shall we say, I was at a college, and this was not an ET experience. This is what you'd call MILAB Mk-ultra, that kind of thing. So throughout my life, I was having experiences with ETs. I also was having MILAB experiences, the military re-abduction or military laboratory abduction. In 1967, I went to college and was at a pre-meeting that they have before, the kind of introductory thing. So I never even actually made it to the college. And this man came up to us in a cafeteria and said, "Listen, anybody would like to make some money? I'll show you how to make money, and all you have to do is be in a dream project, and we just watch you dream, and it's just dream study." So I thought, wow, and he offered like several $100s. So back in 67, that's a lot of money to help in college. So I went ahead and went to the brownstone building just outside of just outside of the college campus, and went in, and I saw the people look like doctors, and so I went ahead and got hooked up, thinking that I was going to go to sleep and they were going to watch my dreams. But that was the last thing I remember until 8 months later, and I was clear across the country in Seattle, Washington, when I woke up. So it's a very long story, but it happened again. So I finally got things straightened out, found my way back home, because like I said, it's a very long story. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer if anybody else does. But during that time, there was MK-ultra, there was MILAB experiences, there were rituals abuses, there was trafficking. There was a lot of different things going on through that time. And I really actually did not know, but I had gotten married. So when I realized when I woke up in Seattle, I was on a bus and I was headed back home. And the man that I was married to, I had no memory of him, no memory of his looks, anything about him, nothing at all. And I got home on the bus, and on the way there, I had a lot of flashes and things like that just nothing was making sense. I was seeing like a big mansion, and then I saw a bus with myself in a bus with some other young people and young boys, actually, I should say, from about 12 to 14, 15. And so the thought in my head, the memory came up because I was trying to figure out how come I had this last name on the ticket that I did not recognize. And so all these things were flashing through me for that, what was it, about 10-hour drive home. And they came up that I was going through a gate. I was in the bus with the kids and myself and some other young women my age. I was 17 at the time. I went around to they took us around to the back, and they brought us up the stairs. Now, then that went, wait, what's going on? Because it was nighttime, there were cars around, there was sounds and music, and I said, oh, what in the world that is? And then this other memory pops into my head, which was the downloaded memory that they had, was that I was with a group of people cleaning the house. Well, you don't clean a mansion at night with a party going on, but we were what you'd call the party favors. So I was put in the beta slave program, which is a sexual program. So going now back on the bus, and I get back and have these flashes all the way through. I have flashes about the rituals. I have different things. I'm trying to make sense of it. I get home, and I should say, I get to the bus station. I call my parents. They come and pick me up, and my mother says, "For God's sakes, you've been gone for 8 months. Where have you been?" And I said, 8 months? Are you kidding? What do you mean? Ever since you got married and Charlie just took you away the very next day. And I said, got married? And so they had to tell me how I had gotten married. They'd even been to the wedding, but I had no memory of it. So that just gives you an example of how deep those memories can be, and in the subconscious, they are buried deep. And when you're talking about MK-ultra and mind control, it's so deep that the only way you can get it out in most cases is through hypnosis. So I just wanted to kind of give you in that part. And then the following year I had a similar kind of thing. I tried to get back on with my life, and the same thing happened to me, only this time they called me on the phone. It sounded like a fax machine, or that kind of a sound. And that was the last thing I remembered for another 8 months. And this time they took me to New York and then on to San Francisco. So a lot of things happened to me throughout my life. And so I was trying to find out my answers by myself. And it was very, very hard, especially when you went to therapists and you went to hypnotherapists even, but even therapists, and you try to talk to them about ET experience, and nobody's going to believe that. You try to talk to them about the MK-ultra and what happened to you and being kidnapped for 8 months, but being married. So it's legal that way, I guess, and I just knew how rough it was for me. And so finally in 1989, actually, I started in 1982, I should say. But in 89, I fully realized that I needed a lot of help. And so I started doing a lot of therapy as much as I could. I found some people who actually believed in the fact that there was ET experiences and there were MK-ultra situations. And they were my hypnotherapists. And so I did a lot of healing. I had to do my own putting together of my psyche that had been split. And in actuality, it had been split since I was a child. I did come to find that out, that I was 3 years old when I was first put into the program. So it does involve family situations, religion, churches, I should say, and things like that. So I just kind of wanted to give you a little background on that, because I've survived, and I believe that anybody can survive these kinds of things if they get the right help and if they have the right support system. So if you have any questions.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. And I do definitely have some questions for you, and I want to say to the audience, because I tagged the questions that they ask you. So if you guys could please make sure that you are putting any and all questions in caps, so I can tag these, and I have a few already. But yeah, if you're asking questions, please put them in caps. So yeah, Misha, I did have a question. I mean, so because I've talked to other people, I've interviewed other people as well. Melinda Leslie, when she talks about MILABs, and I've wondered. So, what method do you think is being used then to not allow you to recall the memories? I guess you're living in the things are happening. People on the outside are telling you, like, for instance, getting married and these 8-month periods. So what method do you think, or have you come to a conclusion that's being used in order for you not to recall this as the experiencer?
So they use a cocktail of different drugs, as well as they do use hypnosis. So they do what I was first in was called the driving program. And actually the driving program started in Canada. Dr. Cameron, who was the doctor in a psychiatric hospital, and he started using it there. And the CIA actually, shall we say, bought it from him. So they took it in as their own, and he taught them how to work it and everything. So the driving program puts you to sleep for days, weeks, and months at a time, and they input things in your head. So it's very hard when and what they'll put into your head is some things that are so radically crazy that no one's going to believe them, or they're absolutely a screen image of a very normal situation like getting married and all of that. Even, and so they'll put, so with drugs, LSD, ketamine, just trying to mention some of the other ones. Also, electric shock is another one that they use. So they use these different methods to drive those memories that might be on any kind of subconscious in the and the surface mind. They drive them into the subconscious, so they're compartmentalized in little areas. And they call, and what we call this is they split your psyche and have you develop, and they develop alters. This happens as a child, so this does not happen as an adult. So when I was taken into that event at 18, 17, 18, I ended up being a perfect candidate because I'd already been programmed. I'd already been in the psychic hospitals. I was in the psychiatric hospital when I was from about 8 years old, on and off throughout my life. This particular institution was a pretty horrific one, and they had all of us in the basement. And about 20 years ago, when they did that hospital, that was a psychiatric hospital, and they turned it into something else. I'm trying to think. It was it's not quite a psychiatric hospital, but something. They found 1,000 unmarked graves. So it became a big deal in Blackfoot, Idaho, that happened, and you can look that up on the internet as well. So this is a long program. This does not happen overnight. Did not happen to me from 67 to 70. It happened prior to that. 60 to 70 was just one of the missions that they put me into. So it is a methodical mind control and splitting of the psyche so that they can produce and make alters, and alters that are so completely lost within in your subconscious and the compartmentalized areas that it takes so much to get to that altar, unless like I think it was called 3 Faces of Eve or something like that. That's a good example. That movie was a good example of altars. However, people I work with right now can have upwards of 150 to 200 altars. So me, I really don't know, because mine was not in the technology fields with shall I say, the people that worked on me, other than at HMI Institute. I got a lot of information there when I was hypnotized there while I was going to school. But the other ones didn't have the tech, so I don't know how many I had, but I do believe that they are all integrated. And so you have to integrate the altars in order to really live a normal life.
So wow.
Question.
Yeah, because it does, and because we know from some of the things that were uncovered back in the 60s, as far as programs that the government were running using human subjects, knowing and unknowingly in a lot of cases. So we know that they definitely do these sorts of things. Now, I would ask, what, from your experience, have you determined how they choose how do they choose their subjects?
Okay. Well, they know when you come into this planet. Now, this might sound weird to people, but they know when you come in. Many of us are hybrids. Many of us are part of the Galactic Federation, so we incarnate into this world, and they know when we come in. So their bound duty is to try to stop us from doing our missions, because we all have missions. And so they try, that's it. That's the best answer to give you, is they know when you come in. In fact, I will tell you, they even use your past lives, or really they're parallel lives, so they're going on simultaneously. So they actually use them, pull in abilities that you had there. Let's say one life you were a witch, another life you were a seer, and another life you might have been working with in magic or something like that, because we've done all of the good, bad, and the ugly in our lives. And so they will take those different abilities and talents, and they will somehow, I don't know how that is though, but they'll somehow remind us that we had them, programmed back into us, whatever it is, awaken them, whatever it is, so that they can use these abilities. Like, for instance, in my book, I've given people some information about just the basic programming. So the alpha programming is a program that programs people to for photographic memory, and so that the altar can remember everything, any other altar. So there's different altars that know everything about the other altars, and they may be the ones that have the photographic memory, but we're all trained for photographic memory because we're using spy and all kinds of different things. The beta program is a sexual programming, and pretty much everybody knows that, but there's a delta program, which is assassination program. So that's hand-to-hand combat. So we're taught how to kill. Theta program, it is we're taught how to use our mind. Remote viewing, also remote viewing to a point where you can actually harm someone or kill someone. So that's theta programming. As it reads, psychic assassins able to cause aneurysms from anywhere, anytime. They're telepathically communicating with the mother, which is the main area. So then you have gamma programming, which is the deception program. So you've got gamma programming within some of the altars to keep the secrets from some of the other altars. I hope that makes some sense to you, but it is what I have found with my work. I've been doing the hypnosis for 8 years, and I've done thousands now. And so they also have the suicide program, and they put a suicide program in everyone at a certain age. So a lot of people don't make it past 29, 39 is about it. They first try a suicide program in 29, and then they might do 39. So this suicide program doesn't necessarily mean you're going to commit suicide, but it does mean that you might do something that could be death by cops, or it does mean that you could do something like do drugs to the point that you could kill yourself, or be a prostitute and you could end up dead. So they put these different blocks in. So I run into these with people all the time. So it's a pretty hairy situation, actually.
What would be the end game then for them? So I guess it's two-part question. So is it that, I mean, I understand the whole suppression side of this, because I totally believe the government suppresses our ascension and what we can be, and they don't want us to realize what we are. So I do definitely go with that. I guess with what is the end game for them? And then is it that when they figure out who to target, is it that they want to use that person as a tool? Or, as far as like because you talk about the things that they expose you to, but is the end game to, what is their end game? And is it that, are they using us as tools then in these scenarios?
Okay, well, the government black program is to create mind controlled slaves for use as spies, assassins, couriers, prostitutes, monarchs. So you carry out these different things that they want you to do. So I will give you another example. Somebody shoots up a school. They're in the program, I guarantee you. So they use them in any way they can. So it's big in the secret space program. It's big in the corporate. Oh, it's huge. The corporate espionage, they use us a lot in. Let me see if I can give you an example. I'll also give you in politics as well. So I was a courier on a particular mission, shall we say, that they sent me on, and I flew. The thing I remembered is coming off the plane and getting into a big black car. Now I was taken to a residential area, and it was in another country. In fact, it was in a country where it was very quaint. It had to have been in someplace in Europe, and they had cobblestone walks everywhere and actually cobblestone streets at that point. So I got out and I walked up to the door. I knocked on the door and I gave this code, which I don't want to say because it could activate someone, and so I don't want to trigger anyone. So I give them this code, and then I go in and I spew out a whole lot of stuff about information, countries, names, people, politicians, and what I'm telling him and what it's happening is he is supposed to help do a coup in that country or another country. I can't tell you if it was that country or another country. So they're putting together a coup. So they want their own president in. They want to, so they want to change the whole government system in that country because we're not playing ball with them. So many of us have done things like that. I was there during not Ted. Oh my goodness. Here comes the blocks. They always block you with names. Not John, but his brother.
Robert?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Robert, yes. To Robert, I was there at the time with Robert Kennedy. And in fact, the girl that was my partner was someone who they've talked about with a particular color of dress and stuff. Again, I'm not going to trigger anybody, but yeah, so they use this in everything you can imagine. It's and secret space program as well. So the secret space program is a huge part of this. And hope that answers.
Yeah, it does. And you touched on it. The one thing there when you said when there's like a mass shooting, then it's tied. They're most likely in the program. Mm-hmm. That's mind blowing for me because I've literally had that conversation with multiple people. I think even on the show before, and my whole thought process was, what. It obviously is something that is an unthinkable thing to do, to carry out. Mm-hmm. No rational person would, I don't feel, would make up their mind to do something like that. And I've always wondered and even played with the thought that it could have been related to something like this, because when, at the end of the day, that would be something that makes a lot of sense. To say that. So with that being said, we're right now running into our break. So Misha, we're going to go ahead and pause for the break. We're going to be right back with Misha Johnston. We're going to talk more about the MILABs. We're going to talk about the regression because I'm really interested in that as well, and the galactic channeling. So you guys just kick back. We will continue in hour 2 right here on Spaced Out Radio. All right, all right. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio after hour number 2 with me, your host, Mr. Rob G, as we continue with our guest tonight, Miesha Johnston, and jump into some of your questions a little bit later on in the hour. But first, before we do that, let me go ahead and talk about our S.O.R, Spaced Out Radio Fan Party, May 10th through 12th, 2024. The itinerary goes as follows. Friday, Jessica, Dave, and myself will be hosting 1 hour each live right then and there. After that show, it's going to be the VIP party. Saturday, we're going to do the ghost hunt with Merle. Saturday night, the UFO Skywatch with Melinda Leslie. Sunday, if you're able to stay, we're just going to hang out, free for all hangout. Come and see S.O.R fan favorites like Space Bob, Lala Bright, Tim Senor, Jim Goodall, Melinda Leslie, Merle, Lorian Fenton, Dr. Michael P. Masters, and more. Come meet Dirty Phil, Jessica, and me. I want to meet you as well. Everyone is invited. You want to go ahead and eat breakfast for dinner? Let's make Dave upset. Let me know. We can go ahead and set that up. Tickets are $60. $100 gets all VIP and swag bags. Rooms have been on sale lately for as low as $139 per night, less than triple the price of the Vegas trip. It's a perfect Christmas gift. Yes, we understand this happens during Mother's Day weekend, but hey, your wife and your mother deserve a nice holiday as well. Sign up today. Email your request for tickets to info@spacedoutradio.com. We cannot wait to meet you. So, Miesha, let's go ahead and get back into what we were talking about here. So,
can I say one thing? I wanted to say that I'm part of that tour. I do my night vision tours here in Las Vegas. And so when we had our last S.O.R party, we went out and we had some really good sightings. It looked like it was going to be a rainy, cloudy, but the cloud we kind of sent them away, and we had some really good sightings here with the S.O.R group. It was a lot of fun.
That is awesome. You're going to be in Reno?
No, that was in Las Vegas.
No, are you coming out to Reno?
To Reno? I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
This one's in Reno. It is instead of Vegas.
Yeah. That's enough. She gave us a maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
So it's gonna be fun. I can't wait to go. I missed last year. I ended up going to Catalina Island instead, but I totally missed it. Wanted to be there, but I'm gonna be there this year, and it should be a blast. So, and actually, for the viewers, we have something I'm gonna show you a little later on today that'll talk more about that trip. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. And so looking into this, Miesha, obviously you're an author. You've written a lot of books on the subjects that we're talking about. When we look at ET Experiencer Regressions, so do you facilitate those or? Okay, and then I guess go ahead and talk to us about that, and I have some questions about that a little bit later as well.
Okay, well, depending upon, I'll give you an example with yesterday I had a regression with someone. So I do hypnosis regression, and I do a 4-part induction because I want to send people the first part of the induction is to kind of help clear and cut cords and cancel contracts. So before I actually do the depth induction to get into the theta state, we start out with that. And so we go through the chakras and we cut cords and cancel contracts. And it's sometimes I found out that it's very important to do that because sometimes it stops the blocks in their tracks and you've already cut the cords and canceled, and so those blocks don't come up, or if they do come up, we're able to handle them much easier. So I work with people who like, for instance, she had ET experiences, but then she also wanted to know about her life as an ET. So we went to several of her lives as an ET. I took her into the regression. She's the one that comes up with the information. It comes from her subconscious. So we talk to the subconscious, and I ask the subconscious the questions that the people want me to ask. They give me the list. and we find out tons of stuff, and it's really amazing. If you're talking about an ET experience, sometimes people will have an ET experience that they, as a child, that they think is in fear, and then when they take a look at it, whoa, it's not afraid. It's their galactics, or it is a positive experience. So then, and then I also work with people, of course, with the trauma release hypnosis. And again, we still do it the same method. And when we're working together, I help them get into they just say to get into the deep subconscious mind. You've got to get into deep subconscious mind in order to go through and get the conscious mind asleep. That's the most important thing. If the conscious mind is not relaxed and gone out of the picture, the conscious mind will keep coming in going, oh, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. So once we get that gone, then the subconscious mind is an open book. You can talk to ETs like they're right there in the room. You can talk to family members that you've had interactions or problems or whatever. You can talk to them. So you're talking to higher selves of all of these beings, beings and people.
Yeah, and that all makes sense to me too. Now, trying to block out the conscious mind because it's thinking, is this right or wrong, or yes or no, and the subconscious is, like you said, just like an open book, so things just come out and without needing to think about what's being said. So that's actually awesome that you presented it that way. Now with the regression, like you stated, you'll have people that go through this and they come out of it understanding that their experience wasn't that bad, or actually was something they could consider benevolent. But then the flip side to that, do you have those that find out that they went through horrific things, and then now they're, how do you deal with the patient that once they come out of that and they learn that maybe things were more on the malevolent side? What's the next step for them?
Okay, so yes, there is that as well. Some people will just have a very, maybe even a dream memory. I'm telling you, dreams are so much more important than we can possibly imagine. That is some of the way that our psyche and our subconscious allows us to come back and remember these memories. So let's say they go into a memory and they find out that, oh my goodness, there's government there in the room. There's guys in military uniforms. They're taking me to a deep underground military base. Which is what I found out. I was taken into many bases, including the Area 51 right out here. And Melinda and I was taken into a base together. So it is so important to find out what the people are looking for. So if what their questions are the very most important thing. So when they write those questions and they tell me, and they have doubts about things, and we go into that. So the best way I can say that when I do a regression with somebody who's found out that, they did have government, I got to tell you, you can't find everything out in one regression. It's just not possible. A lot of people can find out their ET experiences, get connected to their galactics, talk with their galactics, and just go on their life and go on their mission, and may not even have to have another one. But if you're dealing with trauma is something that is buried in, and it has caused you everything from illnesses to definitely to phobias of all kinds. And so you really have to work together, maybe, and have another one and see where it goes. But a lot of people will want to have at least 3, because 3 will give them the understanding of what happened. We heal during the sessions, because the healing is so important. If you just bring up stuff and then you send the person on their merry way, that's not right. that's not right. That's not helping them at all. So I'm a really firm believer in, if they have to have this cleared away. So we're going to pull back again. I will have, like I said, we cut cords. So we will do some more cord cutting. We'll do some more canceling of contracts. When we're in there and we're finding alters, we're going to have to do some integration. And so when somebody has alters and they've had multiple traumas, and they've been in the secret space program or the Mk-ultra program or the MILAB program, you're going to find out that it's not just a happy, easy, fast fix. I wish it was,
Wow.
but I can cut them down to what I've heard. A lot of people said, I've been working with this therapist, hypnotherapist for 2 years, and they come to me and they stop going to that one because we find out so much more in our sessions, because that's what I want people to do. I want them to get out of it and heal, because it was so hard for me to do alone. I want to help others. So it's important.
And so and generally, when we talk about regression, especially in ufology, people who go to be regressed usually have an idea that they need to be regressed. That there's just a couple different things, but I guess the question would be, do you think, so for an average person that's sitting out there that doesn't think they have a reason to be regressed, do you think if they were to say, okay, I'll go get regressed, do you think that they would even potentially come back with things that maybe they just, haven't realized, or, someone who thinks that, no, I haven't been abducted, I haven't done any of these things. If that person gets regressed, do you think that things still can be pulled out or found on that person?
I've had it happen many times. People who just think, I'm very interested in UFOs and I like to come to the support group, because I'll talk about my support groups. But I like to come to the support group and just hear everything, but I'm really not an experiencer. Well, I'll tell you, they start realizing while they're in a support group that there's something to what's going on with them. And it isn't just interest. So lots and lots of times we'll find out that somebody has had experience, or they may have just been a starseed here that came to this planet to do their mission, and their galactics come a few times in their lifetime to just check up on them, and they might find that out, and or they might find out past lives about their experience as ETs and such, or they might find out that they've been a long time abductee. There's no way to really tell. But I will tell you, if you are really drawn to the UFO subject and UFO pictures, ET pictures, whether they repel you or they draw you in, there's a particular reason for it. And it could be just that you're a hybrid, or you're a starseed and you're here doing your mission and it's time for you to wake up. Or it could be that there are some things that you need to work on. And a lot of times people just need to find out the truth. And once they understand the truth, then they can go on with their life.
Now, I hear people say, people who are experienced in regression, not necessarily the ones who perform the regression, but just people who are aware of the process that you go through, will tell an average person that they don't think it's a bad idea to go get regressed. And I guess I wonder, and I asked different people who have knowledge on this question, is it because that you are potentially unlocking something that you may come to terms with as being negative that has happened to you, or is it some other thing? Like, what is the reason that people go around saying you shouldn't do regression?
Well, there was a whole thing about regression being that therapists were putting into stories in people's heads. So that when the hypnosis started, and especially about ET and all of the other subjects that we talk about, there was a real pushback with that. They did not want people to find out the answers, because if you find out the answers and you remember names of people, or you remember your experiences in deep underground military bases and stuff, that ain't good for the Black projects. So they pushed against it. First of all, they said that hypnosis is not good and blah blah. But now it's come to find out that hypnosis is a very sound way to help people, and so they've changed their mind about it. But people who say that people shouldn't be regressed probably shouldn't. People should not be regressed unless they're ready. So if they make the choice, no one should talk anybody into being regressed. They need to make the choice. And when people come to me and just come right out, and let's say they do a reading with me, and they say, well, I'd really like to have a regression. And I tell them, unless we have found out a lot of things that they're talking and they remember their experience, then we will. But if there's somebody that don't have any memory at all, I say, come to the group for a few times, come to group and see if it's really something you want to do. And also check me out while you're there. And it's very important that you check out your therapist and you vet them completely. So that's what I would say to do.
Wow, great answer. Because I consider myself an experiencer because I had a UFO sighting and I caught it on film. It was epic, crazy situation. But I've always thought.
Did you have missing time afterwards?
I didn't. I was with my girl and her son. It was middle of the day, so we were all, I don't know about any missing time, but prior to then, I was just a year ago. So prior to that, I had gone through life without any real experiences, except for, I'll say it, and I've always felt this and thought that it was strange, but never really connected it to anything. So I know when I was a kid one time, probably 9 years old, driving down the street with my mother, the clear sky, and there was a flash of light. We were going over an overpass, and there was a flash of light that lit up the car, and could have been headlights, could have been high beams potentially. It was later. It was not really any people on the road. But then later down the line, so I always thought that was weird because I didn't see any cars around. I couldn't explain that. Later on in life, I have this scar that's on my wrist, and I don't ever recall being injured there. And I've noticed it since I was pretty young enough to remember the past few years not being injured. So I've always wondered about those two things. So, I mean, I'm potentially considering regression just based on those things alone. And I know that these things are here and all this other stuff is going on. So I might be interested in talking to you about some of that. But
I would suggest to you, this is what I would say to you, is please come and attend a couple of my groups and to hear other experiencers. And because when people will come into my groups, and first of all, my groups are online. They're virtual Zoom groups, and I have 3 a week. And so I have 14 a month. And so people will come in and say, oh, I don't want to share. I don't have anything. And they're listening, and they're listening. And they contact everybody. They send me a chat, and they say, I do have something I would like to share, because it helps people kick their memories loose. So that's what I would say might be a good idea for you, Rod.
I'm going to do that. I'm definitely going to do that, because it's something. The whole UFO experiences happened a year ago, so those dots really didn't start connecting for me until about a year or so ago. When now I'm thinking back and I'm putting these things together. And I'm like, wow, okay, there might be something else there, maybe, and I'm just anticipating what it is that I would find out in that situation. So definitely something that I'm going to do. But I guess kind of moving into the other things that you're into. So galactic channeling, like what exactly is that? If you would be able to explain for everyone.
Sure. All right. When you communicate with galactics, sometimes we hear telepathically, but sometimes in our experience, we hear them talking and it sounds, foreign, really weird. All right. So communication is wonderful through telepathic, but the galactics also can speak galactic language through you. And so I don't actually what I would say trance, like go out completely, like Bashar is wonderful. He goes off. He may do a little bit similar too, actually, but I don't go out and let something in. What I do is I listen for what they're telling me, and then I speak it. So they'll speak to me through me with galactic language, and then the message, they'll give me the message of it. So it's a frequency thing that happens. And in fact, one of my groups, the first Wednesday of the month, is the Galactic Light Language. And people have found out with this Galactic Light Language communications in their meditations, in their actually anywhere, like taking a walk, it's really good in water, even shower. Doesn't really matter where you are. You can communicate and connect with your galactics. And I'm telling you, they love it. They think it's so wonderful because they're basically waiting for us to say, I need help. Can you help me? Just like Jesus, God. It's the same kind of thing. When you ask and you earnestly feel like you want to communicate with your galactic family, then you speak galactic language and the message comes through, then they're happy. They're so proud of us. I got to tell you, they think that we are pretty amazing, because for us to be able to survive in such a low frequency, low density planet in this matrix that we're in, they think it's pretty amazing of us. And so when we wake up, they're very happy to assist us and help and talk to us, and they want to talk to us. And I see them come in with these in front of me when I'm speaking the language, and then I give the message to the people with the language first, and the people are crying because they're getting and remembering that galactic language, and it means more to them. They're getting their own messages before I even give them a message. So it's a wonderful cosmic channeling from the galactic, and a communication way, a way to communicate with your galactics and your galactic family.
Yeah, and it's almost, when I think about that, it's almost like it's almost like they're waiting for you to pick up the phone, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they're on the other end, they're waiting for you to realize that this is a phone, and you pick it up, and then you make contact. And that's kind of an analogy, but
it's very true. It's very true. It is like a phone.
What is it that they where do they see us going currently? Like, what is the outlook for them, as far as, like, are they really paying attention to our progress? Are they waiting for a certain moment? I know they're waiting for us to be ascend, but are they waiting for, like, is that just whenever it happens, or is there a time in the future, a specific time that they're like, okay, well, you guys haven't ascended, so we're going to step in, and hey, here we are?
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I believe that if it came to any kind of atomic weapons, nuclear weapons, they would step in, because they have told me that we cannot harm the interdimensional, the inner earth people, and atomic would harm people like that. So I do believe, would step in. Now, that being said, I think all of us are here that we should raise our consciousness, that's one of the tools. let's see, that what's the word I'm trying to think of? Well, I can't think of it right now, but we need to raise our consciousness. We need to be connected to them. They are our family. They've been coming here, and with the genetics, all types of races, everything from Pleiadian, Syrian, Arcturian, and Andromedans. They're all part of our ancestry. And so it's like a grandparent waiting for that phone call. So they do want to help us raise our consciousness. And the way we can do that is work a little bit harder on it. Not just expect that it's all going to fall in our lap, but to work on the connection, work on our meditation, work on our how we treat people, and how if we feel like we've got some kind of a mission, we need to work on it and work towards it, and all work as a team, because we're here, we're Team Earth, I should say. This is a mission that we're here, and we're not dummies. There's no dummies here. There's no lower class here. The people that are here awakening other people and are awake themselves are the people that are from a high frequency themselves. So they know what it's like. So they can bring that into happening again. That's my feeling, that we can make it happen.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. I mean, I'm all about enlightenment, and I do believe we have a mission to enlighten others. It's like your duty, pretty much, to do so. And because when we talk about galactics, and then the potential of there being a galactic federation that everyone talks about, I'm under the belief that or the realization really that we're not ready technically in our current state. Like the current mindset, the current program that we run here on Earth doesn't translate to moving off of this planet, even though we have the technical ability to do so right now, to leave the planet. That we shouldn't put our current mindset out there in the cosmos. I just don't think that it works. No. Which is sad though, because my fear is that, and one of the reasons that I feel like that they are monitoring us is to make sure that we don't take this mindset out there, for one, because we have the technical ability to already do so. So I kind of feel like that's one of the reasons why they keep an eye on us, and kind of make sure that we don't go out there until we're actually ready to do so. So I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. We're, as a civilization, we're far from a civil. So until we can stop our wars and stop all of that, the bigotry and everything like that, we need to work on a lot before. That's why I know a lot of people thought, oh, it's going to happen this year. No, we still have a lot of work to do. So I don't believe that the planet is ready just yet for now. There's a tipping point where you can get enough of the consciousness raised that can make a difference, because my opinion is there's a lot of non-people out there, shall we say, place takers, whatever you want to call them. So a lot. And so if there's a lot of them, and we can tip the scales with the ones that are real, then we do have a chance. But I believe it's 3 years or so, maybe, I don't know, something like that, 2 or 3 years at least down the road. Disclosure, what they did with the guys that went in the disclosure, and that's kind of showed us that we're not there yet.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I never thought about that, actually, since you put it that way, with place takers out there potentially being things that would block the conduit, that would block the ability for this to spread in the way that it should. Makes a lot of sense. With that being
That's
said,
their mission.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I never really thought about that, but it makes total sense, and it would be a potential hurdle to get past on our mission, because that's really, I mean, you know, that's really what I'm about, and what I do. I have a separate channel as well where it's all about progressing humanity and how can we get there and what steps should we take. And so, but even through thinking of all that and thinking of different ways that we can move the needle, I never thought about that. So that was actually great. I do have a few questions from the audience real quick. Looks like Sovereign currently is the only one that has multiple questions in here. So Sovereign is asking, let's see, where are handlers created? Please elaborate.
Wow, interesting one. Well, I think handlers can be used even when they're not actually trained to be handlers. But yes, there are people, they're part of that what did I call it? Now I forgot that my brain here, I forgot that. The Omega. Yeah, I think it's the Omega. No, that's but the program where they are trying to deceive everybody. So handlers can be family members that are actually all of a sudden switched on. I do believe that microwave weapon, psychotronic weapon, the whole targeting thing is another big part of this, that handlers are programmed and trained just like we are and sent into relationships or sent into families sometime to stop people's missions as well. 90% of the people, men and women, who talk about their relationships talk about that they've had handlers in them. So I think handlers are trained and programmed to be handlers, unless they're just mind controlled. Like there's a book, a movie called Control Factor, and in that movie, the CIA was running the mind control programming, and they could actually put into other people's brain and speak things that they didn't even remember that they spoke. So they can even use people that way.
Wow.
Oyster skull kind of thing.
Yeah, they let me see here. We have Sovereign. I guess this is another question here. Are the cloaks a device for shape-shifting or portaling?
Are you talking about the cloaks that the government has, or are you talking about cloaks that the ETs have? Because the ETs can automatically make
ETs, yes.
Okay. So, you're talking about the cloaks, maybe that's what you're talking about. Okay.
From earlier.
So the cloaks are they can hide their appearance with those cloaks. But the portaling, I think they use them more for disguise. As far as the portaling, they don't really need. I mean, I've seen the reptilians hit the belt and end up with a porthole. So I think they have other devices for portaling. It could be for the shapeshifting. I don't know about, but it could be for deceiving people for sure.
Okay. All right. And I know Nikki is putting some questions in here, so we'll get to hers in a minute. But when we get them in, so yeah, I mean, so what would be in the perfect situation with the knowledge that you have, the experience that you have, what is the best path forward? See, I'm a person that and I think we're going to end up talking about this later in the show. I'm a person that believes that, you know, the government and the whole distraction is what I call it, that the government is taking us through, is just something we should just pretty much push to the side and kind of figure out how to get to where we're going by coming together as humanity and kind of figuring this thing out? Like, what is your perspective or outlook, or if you could control personally every step of this process up into the point where we have ascended, how would that go?
Okay, well, first of all, I don't think the government will ever disclose it, really, because then they'd have to own up to everything they've done. And it's been a lot of ugly, ugly stuff for two millions of people. So it is really, I think it is just exactly what you say. It's definitely, humanity has to come together as a unified group, and instead of being so separate. I mean, even in the ufologist field and such as that, there's so much dissension, and I'm this, I'm that, and they're looking at that going, are you kidding me? Really? You really think this is raising your consciousness? So I think there's a lot of work that we have to do about stop infighting. Because I will tell you, some of those people that are trained to be handlers are also trained in the ufologist field to come in and cause discourse in the whole thing, as well as in the spiritual community as well. There's a lot of fakes out there. Sorry, but there are.
No, call it how you see it, because that's the other part of it. Like the whole infight, like before we can even step outside of our bubble, the circle that we're in currently, to get out to the others that aren't necessarily part of this group currently. Yeah, it's a lot of infighting and what they call charlatans and grifters and things of that nature, who don't really have the end goal in mind. They just have their own personal gain, they put first. So yeah, glad, and I'm a person that touches that as well. So I did talk to Richard Doty. I interviewed him a few weeks back, and I just asked him, because obviously he's trained in disinformation, and asked him, I was like, if you look around and you follow you right now, using those lenses, are you able to point out or see things, active campaigns that might be currently going on to kind of break this up? And he said, yeah, definitely. It's definitely going on right now at this very moment. And excuse me. And I think it's I think when they see, meaning the government and whoever's coming in to infiltrate, when they see that we can't even get together on a cause that is going to change the future of humanity, they see it so segregated that they're not even really worried about us ascending, because they see we're so far from that at this point. But which is sad to me, because within my lifetime, I would love to see us, if not get to that point, to at least see that we're moving to that point. So, that's why I asked anyone, like, what is your outlook on it? Because I've asked a lot of people within ufology and a lot of hosts with platforms, like, what is your plan? Like, if tomorrow was the day that we ascended and we had this confirmation, what is the plan going forward after that point? No one could give an answer. No one's even thinking that far in the future. So that part concerns me, because you have platforms where you have your group of viewers that you keep to yourself, and you're it's like a disservice to them, because they should be able to have a situation where they can absorb what they need to absorb to kind of get past you. You know what I mean? I don't know if I said that right, but I know how I felt about it. So,
well, I kind of think it's an individual thing, very much so. I don't think that we are. I mean, the people that I know, the people that I work with, the people that come to my group, they're working hard to make themselves better people. Excuse me, in every way. I mean, we're sovereign citizens, and we really have our own individual mission that we're on. And if everyone can pay more attention to what they're doing for themselves instead of worrying about what other people are doing, we could come together just because we all are one. We are all one. We just don't remember that in this planet, but we're all one. We're all connected. We're all part of the fractal that is God. And so we just take care of your own business, take care of your own work, do your own mission, do what you're supposed to be doing, try to do what's your best, try to be the best person you can. I don't not think that I see any grand thing where there's going to be some leader brings everybody together, because the days of gurus are gone. It's all an individual thing. And I believe it's an individual path for everybody. Maybe it's not the right answer, but it's one I got.
Well, we have Nikki, Angels Are Life. She did have this question for you. She wants to let you know you are incredibly strong. How have you mentally survived all of this?
Well, 17 regressions helped a lot. So I've had a bit of work there, and how I've survived is I think I grow a lot from helping other people. What I get from them gives me back so much more than I had before. I learn every day in every group. I've always been really, I'm a Pleiadian. I'm many things. We're all many things. I'm Pleiadian, Syrian, Arcturian. I've even had Anunnaki in my bloodline, and many other ones. But as a Pleiadian, I see through rose-colored glasses, and I really look in the best of everybody first, and I usually get mostly the best back. So I just I feel that we're all here to help each other. We're all here to support each other, and I've had a lot of support along the way. I guess that's all I could say. Never did do drugs, so that didn't help me, or medication or anything like that. And so I just worked on it. It takes a bit. It takes a bit of work to get to the point where you don't feel like a victim anymore. And that's the big one. Once you cannot feel like a victim anymore, then you start growing in leaps and bounds. And your galactics are there to help you every step of the way. They're manifested. You can manifest, you can create. Everything comes to you when you're on that path. It's really wonderful.
Awesome answer there. There's a few things here. I was reading here in your bio that you had in 1990 you founded the S.O.R Family Contactee Support Group, the first group for teens, children, and their parents. Is that something you still currently do, and can you explain how that works?
Yeah, well, that was an in-person group. It started in 1990, and in 92 I started the first teen and young adult, because both my teens were abductees. So and I call them abductees because one of them was also taken into the MILAB programs and taken on base with me at different times. So they needed some people to talk to, and in school things got a little bit more open those days, and some of the kids from school came, and so I had a teen group. And then the children are just open books if you let them draw pictures. And so I had the parents come and bring their children, and we did some therapy with drawing and their experiences. And so I had that group, and I actually had a men's group. I had a women's group. I had a women's group about the hybrid program because I'm also a hybrid parent and have been shown my approximately 17 children, but I've really been presented with 5 basically, but the other ones I just saw in nursery. So a hybrid group, and even a reptilian experiencer group too. So I now have those groups online through Zoom and have been doing it for 10 years. And I have had different ones, but now I'm on Zoom for the last, I think, 4 years or so, been on Zoom. I have groups for reptilian experiencers, gray experiencers, hybrid families, hybrid parents, hybrids themselves that feel they're hybrids, because to be a hybrid in this world is quite a challenge, because not only does the government come after you, but it's very hard physically, emotionally to thrive on this planet. And then I have a targeted individual group. I have Mk-ultra, S.O.R, Monarch, Montauk, Secret Space Program groups, Twin Flame groups, parents and their children groups, teen and young adult group. I think I've mentioned them all now. Oh, and veterans group. Oh, very much. PTSD veterans. We found many times that the government in the last 2 wars, shall we say, 3 wars, I mean, going back to Vietnam, have been using the soldiers for all kinds of things, everything from Mk-ultra to missions with aliens, fighting against aliens, all kinds of things. So the veterans group is for people who have PTSD and are in the military.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that covers us all. You pretty much cover us all. And I think that's pretty awesome. Especially the children's group. I like that because it makes me think of like the aerial school and what those kids were exposed to, and then the Westall kids as well. And we just a huge group of kids who had this experience that if they didn't get to have an outlet, who knows how how it affected them through their growing life. And we know for a fact that from the documentary that the aerial kids didn't have any initial support group or support functionality. They literally just had to go back to living life the next day as if this thing never happened. And I know your group would have been something perfect for them to have, and you know what I mean, to sort things out and not be so burdened by having to hold that in. So I think that's pretty awesome.
And that's the thing. I have people all the time say this has changed their life. I mean, they say things like it saved my life. And because it is support is really, really important. And if you can have because I have in Las Vegas, I have my local group here, and we love that and everything too. But I like being able to talk to people from Europe and all over the world. And I have a lot of Canadian people who come to my groups. So you might even run in, if you come into a Canadian group, you might see some people I think I saw a couple on the list earlier there on the chat.
Awesome. We have probably about 6 minutes here. So if you want to talk about your books and
show you a picture of them?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so how do I share the screen? Let's see. That's called, what do you do again? You do
present.
Share the screen. Present.
Yeah.
Okay. And then slides. I don't know if that's it. Share screen. I have to get it? Don't I have to get it up first? Don't I have to get it up like in Zoom? Don't I have to
bring it up on your browser and then go to StreamYard at the bottom, click present.
Okay. And then slide.
It should be share.
Oh, and then just share. Oh, okay.
and then it should show up for me, and I can bring it up.
Okay. 1 second here. Oh shoot, that's not gonna work.
Okay.
I did it wrong. Hang on a second here. I gotta go
Yep.
back here. I gotta share it and then and screen sharing, easiest to monitor, share screen. I guess that's it. All right. So can you see that?
Nothing came up. I didn't, usually there'll be a window that pops up on my end. Where are you pulling this from? Your Facebook?
No, from my from my saved files and such.
Okay.
So I don't know how to do this. All right. Well, I'll just tell you about them. Oh, I know what I can do. Share screen present. What's this slide thing? No, that's your computer.
Let me try something here.
Upload file. Let me see. Maybe I can do that. Upload a file.
I can do this. Is it this here? Let me see. Share. Is it this here? What you see on the screen?
I don't see that.
Unimaginable contracts, alters.
Oh yeah, that's it. I don't know how you got it, but yes. Okay, so these are my These are my cards, my oracle cards. I put these together with my Galactic. Actually, they're channeled. They're the most amazing cards. I'm blown away by them every day when I do readings. That because I don't put cards out, I let them fall out on their own, and so you can go to the next one. So that's my unimaginable deck. Is there another one?
Let me see.
Yeah, so that's Galactic Genealogy, Planet of Origin. So my Galactic said they were kind of disturbed because we were not, people just thought that there were grays, humans, and reptilians, and they wanted the people to know that there was many, many, many more. So they wanted me to put this book together. So I put it better on the 2015, and it's from I have a big binder about this thick of all the people in my groups for the years and so some of their pictures are in there, and just to kind of give people an idea. And there's also a chart in there to do your own oracle reading to find out and douse about your plants of origin. So and then with pictures and characteristics as well, so people can do their own readings. And then my They Weren't Butterflies might be the next one.
Let me see if there's another.
I thought I sent it. Yeah. Okay. So this is the covert abduction. This is actually Melinda and I was working on this similar book before they came down on us really hard, and we had to basically quit. But so that's covert military harassment, surveillance, interrogation, and the mind control in the experiences of abductions and such. So that's my first book. So it talks about all of my MILAB abductions and information about it. And then They Weren't Butterflies might be there too.
Let's see. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so They Weren't Butterflies is the complete story of my ET experiences, my being in the mind control program, being from an MK-ultra family, and all of my, like I said, my ET experience, the MK-ultra, some MILAB, but mostly I put the MILAB in the other one. And so that's just my story. It also gives some information to help people understand what the whole thing about MK-ultra and the Monarch program and mind control is all about.
All right. And where's the best place for everyone to get these?
Well, they can get them on my, I know we're Canada, so I'm not sure how Canada is that, what they, anyway, they can get it on my website, starseedawakening.org. And I imagine you have that someplace. So starseedawakening.org. And that's also where you can join the groups. Also, you can get them on Amazon.com, or I mean Amazon. I have my books and my cards there. And so sometimes for Canada people, I think it'd be cheaper. I even have Kindle for people as well. And let's see, there's something I really wanted to say to you about. I'll be so angry if I don't remember to tell you this. Something about. Well, I don't know what it is. It had something to do with the books and stuff, but I guess it's okay. I can't remember.
Well, I mean, we hope to have you back. So, we'll definitely bring you back for sure. I enjoyed today's conversation. You had a lot of great information. I walked away learning something for sure, and I do appreciate that. I'm sure a lot of other viewers will feel the same way about that. So yeah, as long as we can get you back and we can just continue this conversation another time.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, everybody. No problem. It was great.
A little weird today because I fell and hurt my back, and so I'm a little off today, I must say. Motrin just didn't take care of it. But thanks for having me.
You did fine. Thank you so much, Misha Johnston, for coming in and spending time with us here on After Hours. You guys, we're going to go ahead and pause for the cause with our last break of the night as we get ready to jump into our third and final hour only on Spaced Out Radio. And actually, we're going to be doing a few cool things too. So we'll see you guys in just a moment.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
One thing before you turn off?
Sure.
I remembered what it was. So
Yes.
I want people to know that I want them to check out the group first before they go join and subscribe to it. It's $11 a month for as many groups as you want to go to. But I want them to come in and check it out for a couple, 3 times. They can come through Facebook or just send me their email and information and come and check it out. If it's something you like, then you can subscribe. So I just want to let you know.
Makes sense. Sounds like a deal.
Okay.
All right, Misha, you have a great rest of your night. Thanks for coming in. And guys, we'll be right back with hour number 3. All right, guys, welcome back to Space Out Radio after hour number 3. Let me fix my camera. With me, your host, Mr. Rob G. And for the final hour, we're going to be going ahead and doing what's going to be actually the normal going forward. Tonight, we're going to be debuting our very own UFO reporter who will join us every Saturday at the top of hour 3. Some of you guys may know and love this guy. He was in the chat. He was in the chat earlier, I saw. And so what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the graphic first. This is going to be a whole thing. We're going to make this a whole thing every single week. And so this is the graphic that we're going to use today. And it's going to be called UFO Talk with our UFO reporter here now for Spaced Out Radio, Mr. Brian Bowden.
I don't know.
Mr. Brian Bowden.
What's up? What's up, Rob?
How you doing? How you doing? So great to have you join us as the UFO reporter here on After Hours.
I'm doing good. I mean, I got the call and talk about UFOs. I'll talk about cryptids. I'll talk about whatever the heck you want me to talk about. So I'm sure I'm going to piss everybody off, but you know, it doesn't matter.
Oh, and I'm sorry, Sir Brian Bowden.
Yeah.
Sir Brian Bowden. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So this is going to be awesome. So obviously this is the first day that we're doing this. We're going to have a whole intro for you. We're going to have it all set up because as Dave has told you guys, we're in the last steps of getting the After Hours show ready for radio. So this will be added to radio. So we're putting those final touches on there, and one of those was to get Sir Brian Bowden to come on and do the UFO report. So would you have anything to kick us off with for the very first one here?
Well, I figure I'd start and go out with a bang at the same time. So yeah, you know, I've seen a lot of this stuff going on. I see all these people talking about disclosure and, you know, wanting disclosure, needing disclosure. And you have all these people in the game and they're all just like, you know, eating their popcorn, eating it up. And, you know, and I have a problem with it. And I've had a problem with it before. I've discussed it previously with Dave and a couple other guests when I was on the roundtables. But I have a problem with disclosure because disclosure already happened. And I don't understand why people are going like, you know, whatever. Because disclosure already happened. And disclosure happened. I'm sharing a screen with you right now. Disclosure happened way back when in 1977 when everybody that was paying attention heard this. This is when disclosure took place. Okay? This whole movie in 1977 was just one giant disclosure. And it wasn't just in the US. It was global. Okay? Everything about this movie was disclosure. And I'm going to give you another little treat of why it was disclosure. Okay? It was disclosure because the guy that was responsible for dealing with this project and doing the disclosure, actually proving that it didn't exist, there was no UFOs, was in the movie.
True.
There he is, Dr. Hynek.
Yes, sir.
He made an appearance in the movie at a point, if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert. When the craft comes down and the mothership's there and it opens up and the little gray people that come out are there, that man has his beard and his pipe. He didn't have to say a word. Not one single word. Because everybody who is into the subject, who knows about this subject, who knows about the program, Project Blue Book, the man that could not debunk it, that was hired to do so, Dr. J. Allen Hynek, right? So there's your disclosure. And for those of you that don't know the movie, it's called Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Okay? There it is. So I will stop sharing that right now. And so everybody starts talking about all the disclosure stuff, and they give so much credit to Lou Elizondo, right? Oh, he's the best, it's Lou. Oh, he's testifying. He's Lou, right?
Yeah.
This is a guy who's a counterintelligence special agent, worked for the Office of the Security of Defense Intelligence. And he's telling you the truth, right? His job, and I appreciate what his job is. I appreciate anybody that does service for the country, no matter if it's our country, or vice versa. But the man's job in the military was to deceive and lie to people, right? Counterintelligence. Point fingers and make counter accusations. But now he's telling you the truth. Okay. All right. He's telling us the truth. I know people in this business and that business. You can't tell the truth and still keep your security clearance. And he has a security clearance. And you guys are all, everybody's going crazy with this stuff. And that's the point. So the guy that didn't lose a security clearance, whose job is to lie, cheat, whatever he has to do for our advantage, by the way, the U.S. military in our favor. Now you're going to believe everything he says? Okay. I don't believe it. Let's go on top of another thing. While we're here, I'm going to go out with a bang and Dave's going to start cursing at me. Whatever. And I say it and I'm just bringing out, that's things that are important. So you get the fighter pilot, Ryan Graves. He is 100% spot on. Can believe everything he's saying, right? You get Navy Commander David Freyer. Believe him. There's some other players that are there, military base, off ships. Believe him. And then you get a guy that comes up and everybody's oohing and honoring, like, oh, this guy's great. David Gresh. Here's another guy who works for, government agents, and he's giving you information. He's testifying that we have this and we have that and we have this. It's all hearsay. Right?
Yeah.
There's no
you're
fact.
right.
Oh, I can only tell you in private. All right. Right. Whatever. Okay. You can only tell me. You're telling me hearsay. So, and everybody's like going crazy. Oh, look, you see the evidence? We have bodies. No. Gresh said that we have bodies, but no one has confirmed that. He put a ton of people that he may have talked to, really threw them under the bus. And now we're supposed to believe this too. It's all hearsay. There is nothing with the disclosure. You want disclosure. It happened in 1977. The problem is we have people in this world right now that need the disclosure to come out. They need that. Like I told you UFOs are real, right? Now, you don't need it. If you've had experience with UFOs, if you've seen a UFO, you're an abductee or an experiencer, you don't need the government to say a word to you. And to be brutally honest, being an investigator of the subject for 45 plus years, government's not going to tell you the truth. There's way too much to lose in this game, in the UFO talk area. Way too much to lose. I mean, I don't know where you sit on that, and I'm not pointing fingers. You could believe, anybody could believe whatever they want. I'm just telling you from my personal perspective, the opinion, my knowledge base from everything. Disclosure happened already. Enough of the crap. All you're doing is making it easier for people in the government to claim national security purposes and then hide everything even more and spend trillions of dollars more on the whole subject. It's smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely smoke and mirrors. And it's just, yeah, I see where you're coming from too. I do. I see where you're coming from. I believe fully, I'm a middle of the road person. I don't fall too far one way or the other. I'm an evidence-based guy. I gotta see some evidence. So
Right.
you're right. This is hearsay coming from David Grush and Lou Elizondo. They didn't bring any receipts with them. And I get that, and I understand that, and I don't fault you for that at all. Actually, I believe there should be more people that should take that approach and not simply jump on because someone said something. Because if it gets proven incorrect, you've already committed yourself so far to that side. Now you look pretty foolish. And then with the experience that you have looking at this for all these years, there's been times where I'm sure you felt that way only to be disappointed at a later time. So you've been jaded by certain things, which is totally cool. And I think it's actually the right approach to take, you know.
It's not, I don't need anybody to tell me any of this stuff personally. I do the research. I've seen things. I do active intelligent encounters, not only with UFOs, but with cryptids. I call them in, and I mean, for the first time ever in like television or whatever you want to call it, whatever the plus stuff is, like Spaced Out Radio Plus. Waiting for them to come out with that one. That's the premium content. It's kind of like Dr. Bob's OnlyFans page. But so I don't need you to come out and tell me these things. I've brought craft in, and in the shows I did, I mean, I'm there with a bunch of people, Ben Hansen, Mark D'Antonio, who's a big wig with MUFON, and we told him, I said, we're gonna bring in craft, we're gonna bring in objects, we're gonna bring in craft right now, and they had no explanation for it. Mark was just dumbfounded by this, and I have an ability to do certain things where we bring them in, and it's 99% of the time where you're conducting, we do this on our research all the time. When things don't go the way, if it's very quiet, 9 out of 10 times you go out in the woods to do something with cryptids or ghosts or whatever, you don't see something all the time. Anybody that tells you that they're seeing stuff we get all this evidence all the time, run away. Turn around, hit the door behind you and run away. No one's an expert, but we have the ability to do certain things, and it's with a lot of frequency, just like in the tones in Close Encounters, similar to that. And we get responses, and we bring in craft. I brought in a craft that was over the head of everybody, no more than probably 100 feet, 120 feet, 12 stories. And there was 140 people that saw it, including the chief of police of Pine Bush. Wow. Huge craft. And not only did it come there, it was interacting with us with signaling. We asked it to go out to a mountain range, to go out there, and it was there. And we said, do some maneuvers. It did some maneuvers, and then it came, disappeared. We said, can you come back one more time? It came back, did a flash, and it was gone. And, but this other crap that you get with people, I don't understand the whole philosophy. There's going to be no truth to this. It's a national security issue. I mean, if you do the research alone, if you've been following the playbook or the research, technology-wise, the United States government is easily 120 to 150 years ahead of anybody. Actually, everybody combined. And we're not going to, you're playing poker, you don't reveal your hand, do you?
Right.
So why the heck would you do it? Because people want disclosure? Because somebody who got ridiculed throughout their entire life for believing in little green men or whatever, they want that one moment. I told you it was real. Yeah. Okay, great. Move on. So we're going to sacrifice everybody for that, right? It's just.
So what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? I mean, this is good. What they call it, tough love. Great approach to.
It is tough love.
Conditioning.
Most people don't talk about it like that. You get you get people trying to justify that. Well, we need the hearings for no. What do I think? I kind of subscribe to. I don't know if anybody's paying attention in chat or knows who Cliff High is. He's a computer sciencer, and he does a lot of scraping of the internet, and he does algorithms and predictions based on information coming in. He's probably about a 98% accurate, 99% for the most part. He's really good. And he predicted, along with another remote viewing group. I am a remote viewer. I wasn't part of this, but I did have visions of this in remote views, unbeknownst that they were doing it, of certain events. And he did predict before September, they predicted, something big happening in the last, 90 days. We had a nice war over there, and we still have it going on right now in the Middle East. So through Cliff's last, I believe it was his last pay-per-view type of thing, or if you got to, register, it's like $50 a piece or whatever. Cliff has stated that we are going to get real disclosure, and we're going to get it by the extraterrestrials themselves. And he said coming this April, and I believe it was either the 3rd or the 8th, and I'm leaning on the 3rd. He said extraterrestrials will finally make their presence known on Earth. So I'm willing to wait that long.
Me
You
too.
don't understand. If the guy said, he gave you things to bet on, I'd bet on him in a minute, and without even thinking about it. That's how accurate he is. And his data right now is coming up that they're going to make their presence known by this April.
Wow.
And it's not the first where it's going to be April Fools for everybody, but it's going to be pretty interesting. So I mean that's where I am in this camp. I'm tired of all the disclosure. I'm tired of people that are authors that are now becoming, being called one of the best researchers out there. They're writing book reports, folks. I'm sorry. I'm not going to name names, but so many people that get such fame for this stuff, they're not researchers. They do a little bit of information and you're giving them such accolades for basically, authoring a book. You think Peter Benchley was an expert on sharks when he did Jaws? No, he just researched it, came up with whatever it was, and you kind of know the formula and you put it out there. So I'm not bitter or jaded. I just don't like false flattery and BS. There's too much in this thing. And now with AI, forget it. Right? AI, everybody can see a UFO. You can go on your computer right now, go on your phone and go, I'm going to go see a UFO. I could take video that I've caught, and I could literally put it into AI, have them clean it up in a second, and then output it and say, okay, I want this over. Like I have a lot of the video I show, and I could show it on my PowerPoint when I do some presentations. I try to show as much evidence that I caught, personal evidence, than relying on some other third-party video, like the Nimitz video. By the way, I saw the Nimitz video and all those big Tic Tac stuff years prior to it being big news. And I'm like, I've seen this already. What's so new about it? So everybody's like, really far behind, and I mean, it's kind of like, it's kind of like, well, back in the day, right? You would get advance notice of like, music or whatever. I was one of the people at the forefront growing up in New York City. Brought home like the CD, and I went and I bought a CD player. Like, what do you need that for? We've got records. And then I put it in. It was like, oh wow, audio. It's totally different. Now you can't. My kids don't even know what the hell like. What's a record? They call it vinyl now, right? It's like, oh, I want her new vinyl. It's called a record. It's nothing new. And then they sell those crappy, turntables, but whatever. So it's like, I'm just tired of all the BS. Let's call it what it is. Let's pay attention to the people that actually get more abducted. And I wouldn't subscribe to any more of the disclosure, because they're not going. We're at the mercy of these different extraterrestrial races, whether they want to or not disclose what they want to disclose. They do disclose to certain individuals that do get abducted. It's based on your psychological profile with them, how much you can take and tolerate. And it usually takes a numerous amount of years before you're opened up to the fact that, okay, I got it. You guys are real. This is where we are, but yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it, man. I like cleaning. I mean, because sometimes, the approach has always been to hold this issue or this topic with soft kid gloves, right? And to be able to sweep out the unnecessary BS with looking at the picture allows you to focus a lot and see things more clearly. So I love it. I love your approach with that, because that's how I look at it as well.
Okay, so yeah, I'm a bit older than a lot of other people, and when I see this, and this is really weird, when I see people postulating on this stuff and making excuses and trying to make it bigger than it is and start trying these, 2-hour-long conversations, all I remember is in Living Color when Damon Wayans they used to make their own, like, that's very Metamucil, it's like they make their own, like, words up, try to sound more sophisticated than they are. It's hysterical,
Right.
a take on that, but that's what it is. It's like, I look at people and I'm like, why are you grinding your wheels on something that's just junk? Instead of just like talking about it, why don't you go out and why don't you go take a look at the sky? Why don't you try to use your consciousness to bring in craft and really get some evidence there? You want disclosure when you see a craft that's probably, size of a football field flying over your car, doesn't make a damn sound, and then in an instant disappears. You really care what senators and congressmen and people who work for the military are going to tell you? Like, oh, it's real. Okay. Yeah, sure. It's real. Okay. Let's move on. There's no meat on the bone for this. I guess I'm the only one.
I've had the same thought process. I've sat here literally and said, for one, government's not going to be involved with this. We're going to have to do it ourselves. So why don't we call on our our C5 people to go ahead and get together, bring all your forces together, and let's call in some of these crafts live on TV and have a global moment where it's realized. And I didn't know that you were able to do that. So that's actually pretty cool to know. So because that's something that I'd stand on, and I'm like, we have this in our community. So why aren't we using those tools? Those are the tools that we should be using to bring in the moment for everyone else. So I don't know if you can arrange that or if we can set that up one day.
I'd have to come out to the West Coast and be out there to all right, everybody get around, put the weed down, gather around, because some people will see stuff in this day and age. But I mean, when you bring in a craft, when you're able to call it in, and when you're able to have that experience and encounter, your mind's blown. Even I don't care what researcher you are and how many years you've been doing it, you're at a holy moment, because it's just like, okay. But I've just found certain vehicles and certain secrets, I guess, if you want to call it, through the research. And I've been using them for decades. Talking about them, using for decades, and it's being big now. The new thing is consciousness. Yeah, well, I've been doing that for a long, long time. It's not new. You just you just caught up. It's like kids today seeing Star Wars for the first time. Dude, you know who Darth Vader is? I'm like, yeah. Luke's father. I got it. I was back. Get up. They think they have something, one up on everybody.
Yeah.
But you'd have to do it in public so you can bring people in so they can physically, they can be there to see it hovering over their head.
Yeah.
Because if you do anything, every video you make on that, what's going to happen is people are going to go, oh, that's CGI.
Yeah.
That's AI. Because at this point, you can't tell sometimes what's CGI, well, now it's artificial intelligence, and they're pretty good at what they do. Almost seamless, but if you get some video and you throw it in the back end on a computer, and you can kind of see certain traits. Case in point was a couple of years ago, there was this great video. And I remember seeing a tidbit of a couple of seconds of this craft hovering in the night sky. And I'm like, that's the real deal. And then someone took it and then they put it going over a roadway with pine trees. And this guy's driving in a truck with his dog. You can hear the dog whining. And it comes over the trees and it's getting closer. And I'm like, it was seamless. And I'm watching this and I'm watching this and I'm watching it. And then I caught it. They took 3 seconds of a real video, mapped it, put it into CGI. And the only way you catch that with CGI, this is classic because most people aren't paying attention. If you watch the road as he's driving and moving it towards you, every so many moments, the same pothole comes up.
Okay.
Because CGI is created in a strip. They're just going to create one of them. They're going to create 10 of them.
Right.
And then it becomes a pattern. You're just not calculating at the time. It was really, really good. To the point where it was like, okay, something's weird about this. Because I remember seeing, and if you've seen the original video, which is a little snippets at night, pretty close up over a tree, you're like, this is familiar. This is the real deal. And then, yep, you get you. I don't know why people do that. I mean, it's like, you make money off of that. One thing if you make some money, if you don't make anything,
Yeah, I don't get the point behind it either. I really don't. It's just muddies up the waters for us. But no, the calling on the summoners and C5 specialists, we need to do that. Like, I don't know if that can be organized, like not even with just you, but just others as well that have this ability. Let's create, let's set a date.
Right. So that,
do it.
I'm one of those guys where I moved from New York City down to Florida, and I still go back up to New York for a couple of months a year. But I'm thinking about doing something down here in Florida. I'm trying to do a live meetings for people that have had experiences. We used to do it. Behind me is our New York State UFO project, founder and director of that. And we used to do live meetings in 2 parts of New York State. One was a little bit outside of New York City to get like that New York City area crowd. And then we went upstate New York, and we had a lot of people come in. We would have special guests come in, but it was a safe space, for like-minded individuals where no one's going to ridicule you because you had an experience. And I'm not big on safe spaces. Like, I think people have, sometimes life is not safe. There's no safe space, but it was a forum to give people an area to vent. It's like, you're not going to go into an AA meeting and just call people idiots. Like, well, good, you stop drinking. I mean, it's a kind of like that. And it took one of the persons that were there. It took them a long time to open up. And I remember when she came in and she saw, I created these posters that were life size. So I had a 9-foot high poster of a reptilian, and about a 6 to 7 foot high poster of a tall gray. So you could stand up next to it and see how tall these things are and see it. I do it for Bigfoot too. I do it for the Dogman and some other things, because you want a visual reference. Like, what are we talking about? Like, I would have just gone in the woods and done whatever. Okay, go stand next to this thing. Go up there and look.
Exactly.
Now, you wouldn't have done anything but cried like a baby.
Exactly.
Possibly your pants.
Thank you. So hit that button exactly. Yeah.
So,
That's awesome, man.
yeah.
I had no clue. I know you've been on Space Out Radio before, so
Numerous times.
yeah.
So,
And so getting to know you, so I see, I like your energy. I like what I'm feeling here, man. I like the realness, really, because I'm a realist as well. And
thanks, Derek.
sometimes you just have to cut out and just be real.
You know what?
Right?
I mean, I give people, look, I don't beat people up because they want to believe what they believe in, but it's like, you know, there's no fairies and unicorns that are going to be popping out and, you know, whatever, although there may very well be fairies and unicorns because they have evidence of those things too. But you know, it's like people are entitled to their opinion. I'm not going to say you're wrong. Your experience, your opinion is yours, but you got to start thinking about this. There's no reason why anybody should be telling the world that we have UFOs or we know about them. We have bodies and we have this and that. No reason. Not in this climate. If we were all kumbaya, you know, oh, hey, you know, whatever, like to buy a world of Coke, yeah, whatever, maybe, but there's way too many countries and individuals that do not get along, and we need that for our national security, whatever we have. So yeah, but yeah, I'll be back. I'll be doing whatever you want me to do. It's not just you. I mean, I can talk, you know, I think it should just be Brian's here and that's it. That's what it should be called. Brian's here and we're going to talk about something. So we're going to try to talk about cryptids and we can talk about
real talk with Brian Bowden. Yeah, I like it. I like it. So yeah. So awesome, man. So yeah, we're gonna do this again. This will be weekly, and I like it though, man. We need it's like I like the real stuff. You know what I mean? So I appreciate the real stuff. So I really appreciate you coming in here and giving that. You know what I mean? That's good. I like that.
That's what I do. I mean, I just try to give you from personal experience. Some stories are interesting because you vet the people that they're not stories as in fables. They're real tales, but I'm not a storyteller. I'm a researcher and investigator. I'll go through some stuff. You know, again, I'm going from personal experience, personal evidence, whatever I can bring forward, and we'll talk about things. I mean, if you want next week, we can switch it up. I can talk about Bigfoots and the current war that's going on between them.
Yeah, awesome. That's what we'll do there. We will talk. I got a feel for it. I know I can feel it, and yeah, we'll talk soon.
We could chat. I'll give you the messenger call. It's so much easier. Or the cell phone or whatever it is.
But, we're gonna do
that. I appreciate being on. I appreciate Dave reaching out and you reaching out, and you know, anywhere I can help. There may be some weekends I'm not able to do this. But yeah, you know.
Yeah. Just let me know, man. We'll figure something out.
You got it. And I see a lot of friends in the chat, so and a lot of new people. So thank you very much for having me on.
Give it up for Brian keeping it real tonight. I love it. It's good. We're gonna do it again, Brian. Appreciate you.
I can give myself applause.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Let's do this again next Saturday.
You got it. Be there.
All right.
Good night, everybody, or good morning.
Take care, man.
Take it easy.
All right, guys. Yeah, that's what we're talking about, man. Brian coming in here, keeping it real. I love it. Set the tone for what this is going to be going forward. So yeah, on Saturdays, we know Brian's coming in at the top of hour 3 to come give us some realness. And I love that. I love it. I love it. So I'm excited about that. And tomorrow, what we're going to do, we're going to be introducing our Sunday person. So you all know Brian, you know, we got to have him come on and give us some of the reels. So we have a feeling of what we're going to be doing in hour 3. And then tomorrow, we're going to bring in someone else that I think you guys probably know. I'm sure you do. And they'll be coming in and bringing what they bring for Sunday. So we're filling this out this weekend. I love it. I can't wait. I'm excited. I have so many ideas and things going through my head right now. It's crazy. Now, I'm going to do something with you guys. I'm going to do this because I know it shouldn't be a big, I know that this would be something that Dave Scott would want us to do. This is something that Dave Scott will want us to do. So we've been working behind the scenes, and we're still working behind the scenes very hard at formulating not just this program here after hours. Obviously, Dave's working on the show Monday through Friday and thinking of things and ways to slam it home with everything that we're doing. And we've talked many times about putting together commercials and things of that nature. So we are currently in the process of developing a set of commercials. Probably, I think Dave has said this before on air. He talked about maybe 10 commercials. So we're in the process of hashing some of that stuff out. So here's what I want to do. You guys are loyal S.O.Rians. You guys are bringing home space travelers, right? You guys are in and out breathing S.O.R. So I thought I'd share something with you. I thought I'd just give you guys a peek at what we're working on here, right? So none of this is final. Dave, I'm going to show a little bit of what we're doing just to kind of give everybody an idea and a feeling of where we're going. So our breaks that we normally take, we have the video that plays. So at some point, those will be replaced with the S.O.R commercials that we're putting together. So I just want to show you just a couple of the commercials that we are working on right now. And that's what we'll do for the last bit of this time here. And we'll talk a little bit here. So I'm going to show you commercial number 1. Actually, I don't even know. Let me see something here. I'm going to show you guys commercial number 1. Let me remove this. All right. Commercial number 1. This is commercial number 1.
What? We do not have ugly swag. We have spaced out radio gear that you're going to want to wear. Why? Because no one wants to wear ugly clothing. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com and go shopping today. You'll be glad you did. And it's a great way to support our show. Once you get your gear, send us a picture of you rocking out in your S.O.R swag. spacedoutradio.com, shop there today, and make yourself look good.
All right. Working on commercials. What do you guys think about that commercial? Can I get some 1s for we like it? Can I get some 2s for we don't like it? So 1s, you like it. 2s, you don't like it. Let's check it out again. We're still doing the final edits on it, but for the most part.
Hey everyone, guess what? We do not have ugly swag. We have spaced out radio gear that you're going to want to wear. Why? Because no one wants to wear ugly clothing. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com and go shopping today. You'll be glad you did. And it's a great way to support our show. Once you get your gear, send us a picture of you rocking out in your S.O.R swag. spacedoutradio.com, shop there today, and make yourself look good.
Okay, so it's ones. Ones. We got ones. I see some ones. Yeah, I like it too. Right? I like the shoes too, right? See, doesn't it we talk about the store a lot, right? But we don't visually get to see what's going on in the store. And so it was the obvious commercial to make. So when they had put that together, Dave Scott did the voiceover. Pony Pong is not a fan. Yeah, can't win them all. But we got a lot of ones, so I like that. Yeah, I made sure I put the Dave Scott drawers in that commercial. So okay. So we'll be finishing that up. We're doing a few different versions of the store commercials. So that'll be one of them that'll end up playing once it's done being edited and the levels are all done there. So we have that. Then we are also working on we have the S.O.R fan party. So we have the S.O.R fan party. And I'll give you a clue. I'm going to show you this one. You might see some if you attended last year, you might be in this commercial. That's all I'm going to say. You might be in this commercial. Once again, these are not final works. These are still in the editing phase. But I wanted to share with you because you guys are here every night. And I wanted to, see what you guys thought. And I'm going to go ahead and show you the commercial for the Reno trip that we're working on. Other ones I'm going to have to keep under wraps because they're still at the early phases. These ones are done enough to show you. So let me go ahead and show you what we have for Reno.
You love your woo. It's time to make a commitment to the 3rd annual S.O.R fan party. This time, we're heading to Reno, Nevada and the Silver Legacy Casino and Resort, May 10th through 12th, 2024. Tickets are $60 or $100 for VIP. With that, you get a free radio show. You get to hang out with celebrity guests from Spaced Out Radio, including our team, who are coming to hang out with you. You get to meet the entire team, like Science Bob, Merle, Melinda Leslie, Geraldine Orozco, and more. It's a weekend packed with adventure, and we want you there. After all, we're doing this for you. Find out more and get your tickets at info@spacedoutradio.com and book your hotels today at the Silver Legacy Casino and Resort in Reno, Nevada. Come join us for the S.O.R fan party, May 10th through 12th, 2024.
S.O.R fan party. Let me see some ones. We love it. Let me see some twos. We don't love it. Let me see where we going. Where are we going? Abita NY. Hey, thanks for coming in. Nice to see you. All the smiling faces. That's right, Anita. There were some familiar faces in there. Well, maybe not familiar to everyone, but so someone noticed. And this, I put it in there. Yeah, the music is still low. The mixing and all that stuff is done during the editing phase. These are all rough drafts. Yeah, you were there, right, Timon, man? I mean, people who were there, there's so many pictures from the last events that are available. And if you attended any of the previous ones, so going forward, obviously, once this event, so hopefully you're there for this event in Reno because you get some pictures in there because any future commercials that get put together, you just might be included. You know, I know Tomothman is in there. And I will go ahead and run it back, play it twice. The audio is a little low on both of them, really. The audio isn't right on both of them yet, period. They're not mixed. But the feeling, tell me how it feels for you.
If you love your woo, it's time to make a commitment to the 3rd annual S.O.R fan party. This time, we're heading to Reno, Nevada and the Silver Legacy Casino and Resort, May 10th through 12th, 2024. Tickets are $60 or $100 for VIP. With that, you get a free radio show. You get to hang out with celebrity guests from Spaced Out Radio, including our team, who are coming to hang out with you. You get to meet the entire team, like Science Bob, Merle, Melinda Leslie, Geraldine Orozco, and more. It's a weekend packed with adventure, and we want you there. After all, we're doing this for you. Find out more and get your tickets at info@spacedoutradio.com and book your hotels today at the Silver Legacy Casino and Resort in Reno, Nevada. Come join us for the S.O.R fan party, May 10th through 12th, 2024.
All right, so that was my little treat for the night. I wanted to go ahead and include you guys in that, just because you guys are loyal. You're here all the time, and you consume so much S.O.R. You are family, and yeah, and I wanted to bring that. Now, you might not see these again for a while because we are still working on these plus others, and we're going to bring them all out together as one unit once we finish them all. But yeah, I want to give you a peek behind the scenes so you guys can see what was going on. So I hope you enjoyed that. And we got about, let's see, yeah, the music. Yeah, we have multiple options. So we have we're doing pretty much more than one version of each commercial essentially when it comes down to music. So for even the merch one, we have more than one with the music selection. So yeah, I agree. So we're doing that, and then we're going to end up picking the best ones. So you're kind of looking in very early on the creation process. And yeah. No, you guys, hey, wanted to include you guys. So, all right, good. All right, so let's see. What can I show you? Actually, let's do this because we only have 5 minutes left. I don't want to get too deep into one thing. We only have a few minutes here. So let's talk about the merch store, right? So we don't have ugly swag, as you just saw in the commercial. So you can go ahead to spacedoutradio.com and pick yourself up a random guy shirt. Actually, this isn't updated because now we have the Rob G shirts up there too. Plus, we have a lot of merch. That's the other thing. We have a lot of new merch going into the store. A lot of stuff that isn't currently in this slide that I have here that is going up on the site. So all this that you're seeing here, plus a lot of great designs that we've been talking about to each other about behind the scenes and kind of, formulating and getting things together. It's going to be crazy. The store is going to be crazy. But you can go get any of these things that I'm about to show you at the store right now. You get the random guy shirt, you get the alien rocker tee, you get the baby long sleeve organic bodysuit, you can get the badass Merle tee, you can get the Bigfoot toque, you can get the Bob Lazar tee, you can get the Canadian Squatch tee, You can get the classic S.O.R tee. The custom pin buttons, obviously featured in the commercial, the Dave Scott beard and hair awareness draws. So if you don't have those, I don't know. Dogman Let's Rock tee. You can get the El Avni Volador shirt, like we saw El Avni on the show the other night. You can get his t-shirt here. You can get the FU Dave, the President Zaddy inspired shirt. You can get the Grand Tavius Max muscle shirt. You can get the Is Anybody Out There baseball tee, the kids Wendigo hoodie, the ladies S.O.R Street hoodie, the Grand Tavius Lip Blade t-shirt, men's S.O.R hoodie, the Merle shirt, the Peak Woo shirts. You can get the plethora, I want to say Julie inspired Drink Baseball t-shirt, Sasquatch USA tee, the S.O.R We Own the Night tee with one of the older official logos. You can get the S.O.R Bluetooth speaker. We're in the Christmas season too, guys. So you can just not get one for yourself. Get one for a family member. Let them go out and represent Spaced Out Radio to their friends. Get the S.O.R Classic hoodie. You can get the S.O.R Diner tee, the S.O.R Fairy Tank and tee, the S.O.R Kicks. So you saw it has the owl logo, which if you're looking at this shoe would be on the opposite side. So on the opposite says We Own the Night is on the inner foot, and then the owl logo is on the outer. Then you have the S.O.R logo tumbler, the Spaced Out Radio, the official t-shirt, Spaced Out Radio We Own the Night sticker, the UFO tee, the S.O.R water bottle, the women's tank, Team Rock women's tank, Team Stump women's tank. We got the Jessica Jones Cryptid Huntress Off the Trails tank, the Sassy Squatch tee, Tim Senor's Tim's Alien Woo t-shirt, the UFOs and Tacos tee, We Own the Night hat, We Own the Night panties, We Own the Night t-shirts, the women's UFO tacos in UFOs and Tacos tank, women's Woo Train undies, and the Woo Factor shirt with the Woo Factor pillow, the Woo Train boxer briefs, Woo Train mug, You've Got Aliens t-shirt, and so much more. We don't have ugly swag, guys. Shop today, spacedoutradio.com. All right. So that was fun. All right. That was fun. We had a great time tonight. Great guest, Miesha Johnston. Awesome guest. Brian Bowden coming in for hour 3 with UFO talk, real talk. We're going to get that one locked in. And then tomorrow we're going to be doing a lot of the same. We're going to have some more fun tomorrow. It's going down. So make sure you guys tune in. So with that being said, we have our super chatter who gave a super sticker for the night, Jennifer Patterson. So we definitely want to thank Jennifer. And let me see. With that being said, we're just going to go ahead and get ready to close the show down. Appreciate everybody coming in. To all the space travelers out there, consider taking the next step. Join the club. That's right. You can join our S.O.R Space Travelers Club for as little as $5 by joining our Patreon. We appreciate your support. To all our viewers and listeners across the globe, thanks for tuning your frequency to Spaced Out Radio, where we do what we do best. And what's that, you ask, guys? I'll let you say it. We own the night. Take care. See you tomorrow.